Howdy, and welcome to the Highline Herd podcast, where stories ride strong and the bond between folks and their horses runs deep. Each Sunday, we're talking everything from trail tips and tack to good old horse sense and the people who live it every day. Keep up with the herd by following us over on Instagram at the Highline Herd and swinging by our website at thehighlineherd.com. Now, let's ride into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to the Highline Herd podcast. I'm Skylar.
I'm Shelby, and today we're going to be talking about trail riding solo.
Woohoo!
So, trail riding by yourself is something a lot of people may do on their own properties. I know Skylar and I are really prone to it.
Oh, yeah.
But, even on your own property, there's some rules to follow, but if you go off site, there's even more.
It's a different story. It's a different experience entirely.
It really is, and there's so much more risk.
Yes.
At least at home, you know your horse is going to go back to the barn.
For the most part. Hopefully.
Or, in my case, to the nearest grass patch, but...
yeah, that too. Yeah, no, when you're riding at an off-site location or someplace new, especially, you could have a completely different horse, too.
You really could.
Yeah.
So, when you first trail ride off-site by yourself, choose somewhere familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Choose somewhere you and your horse are super familiar with. It's not super new. That way you can get a gauge for how will my horse do alone off-site.
And, familiar in that aspect, someplace that you've been with others would be great.
Exactly,
Because your horse is comfortable, you're somewhat comfortable there, and you kind of know a lay of the land of where to go and where your horse might go if something were to happen.
Right, and remember, too, your horse is going to draw a lot of their energy from your energy.
Yep.
So if you go into it fairly confident, like, whatever happens, happens, I know where we're at, I have people who know where I'm at, your horse is going to be more relaxed because you're more relaxed. But if you go into it super, super nervous, then your horse is going to be super, super nervous as well.
Yeah.
Like, I know for Skylar and Willie, a huge issue is the moment Skylar gets anxious, Willie's gone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it's hard to get him to come back down from that anxiety. And that's just something that I have to know and plan, ahead for in case something were to happen. How do I, confidently bring him back down?
Yeah. And, that looks like a million different things.
Yep.
Some people get off and hand walk their horses. Some people, like Skylar, have to employ the use of a tie down to maintain control. And, sometimes it's training, sometimes it's experience and what saddle pads, and sometimes the horse's personality, they just don't have the capability to ride solo, or their past, like Willie, doesn't allow them to work through that anxiety super well.
Yeah. And it's so weird because, like, for Willie's case specifically, if it's just me and him by ourselves, we're fine. I can get him to come down. But it's if there's another person and another horse added to the mix, I don't know how that changes the chemistry in his head, but it does. And it changes it very drastically. And that's why he won't come down.
Well, and I think part of it's also, too, because it does change your outlook as well, because you are thinking about, okay, I'm riding with this other person, and, whenever you're riding with somebody, even if you're riding with somebody who rides very similarly to you, you're always worried about their horse and them.
True. Because
you don't want their horse feeding off your horse. Some of us do get more embarrassed. Even if it's our friends, we're like, oh my gosh, my horse is being stupid. Stop it. So there's riding with people and riding solo. They're both big animals to tackle with horses.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact riding Valor in a group is not fun. I recently learned that.
Yeah.
I can ride him with one or two other people, and it's great. Ride him in a group? No, I have a horse that pops up and throws his head and just generally does not want to stay with me.
Yeah.
And if Willie sees boats, he does not want to stay with Skylar.
Nope.
So every horse has their thing. And so when you're going into solo trail rides, make sure you know your horse and you know you.
Yes.
Yes, you want to be familiar with the terrain. Absolutely. Don't go ride solo somewhere brand spanking new for the first time.
Yeah.
Go into it confidently. Go into it safely. Know, okay, my horse reacts like this, so we're going to be prepared for that.
Mm-hmm.
And think about all of those things, because reality is your horse is going to stop thinking at some point because they're prone to that.
Yeah.
So you are going to have to be the one in control of the situation.
Exactly. And who says you have to ride your first time? You could just walk your horse if you wanted to.
Absolutely. Yeah. I am a huge fan of just hand walking horses. Walk them like a dog is what I will tell my clients. Say that. Yeah, I tell my clients all the time when they talk about their horse being nervous about leaving the barn or moving out on trails or about new things. I'm like, walk them like a dog.
Mm-hmm. Like, let them see everything and, maybe snack every so often too, just to chill out. A nice, fun experience for them where they're actively thinking about everything that's going on.
Right, and, hand walking them removes any extra stimulus. Mm-hmm. Because, like it or not, none of us are 100% quiet in the saddle. Mm-hmm. Your horse is constantly going to feel your legs and your muscles and your breath and all of this stuff you're doing, even if you're not noticeably, consciously doing it.
Yep.
Your horse is picking up on it.
Yep.
So hand walking them eliminates that. Mm-hmm. And they can truly focus on their environment.
Yeah.
Plus, they have the visual of you. And I know some horses do really well when they see their people on the ground versus on their back.
Yeah, and they get their comfort from you too, or their confidence from you.
Exactly, because, I think I speak for majority of people. They are more comfortable handling a crazy horse on the ground versus under saddle.
Yeah.
The danger's less. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit less.
Yeah, because you can see everything and you can react somewhat accordingly for the most part.
Right, and if your horse is being especially goofy, and they're getting ready to bolt, charge, whatever, if you are in an area with trees, you can use trees to your advantage. Mm-hmm. Make them wrap that lead around a tree. Get yourself behind a tree if you know you have a horse that charges when they get anxious. Mm-hmm. So
use the terrain to your advantage as well.
100%. I know I cannot get on Valor from the ground unless I put him below me.
Yep. Little hills, little slopes, trees that are fallen, stumps, etc.
Right. Yeah. And be prepared to get on and off. So think about that too when you are trail riding solo. Think about, you may have to get on, you may have to get off from the ground, and you need to be aware, can I get on and off from the ground?
Well, I was going to say, I would only recommend, going solo if you're comfortable getting on and off from the ground or being able to kind of
use your
problem shoot and yeah.
Or your horse is one of those really fancy ones that sits for you to get on and off. As someone who rides 16 hands, I'm not going to lie, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you're solo riding, just a little bit of recap before we move into the next thing is truly just be prepared. Don't throw you and your horse into a brand new situation by yourselves for the very first time.
Yeah.
Stick with something familiar. If you would prefer to hand walk your horse or you think your horse would do better hand walking, absolutely do it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, that might even be better in some situations.
When people have babies, I will tell them, hands down, do not ride your baby. Hand walk them. Mm-hmm. I know it's tempting to just take them on the trail and see how they do under saddle, even in a group. But with babies, hand walk them. Mm-hmm. That's my biggest suggestion.
That's what I'm going to do with Sunny. Once he's all healed up from his injury, he's going on little rides with me and Willie. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is know how your horse deals with other horses. Like I said, trail riding solo is a whole nother animal than trail riding in a group, but you have to know which personality your horse has and how they react to both of them.
Example for that, Willie, trailer or riding with other people and other horses, he's very confident. He's very, he used to be. He's very up in the front. He likes to lead. He likes to kind of set the pace. And just kind of keep everybody in line. But solo, he likes to just relax, take things a little bit slower, and just kind of looks around, watches everything. Sometimes I'll get him on days where he's on high alert and he's a little bit more jumpy or spooky. But for the most part, he's more attuned to just me in that situation. So he's a completely different horse, whether I'm with a group or by myself.
Right, and I have the same situation with Valor. I trail ride Valor by himself. He moseys. Skylar thinks he walks slow when we trail ride together. No. When I trail ride solo with Valor, dude moseys. And he will stop every 5-10 minutes or so to just kind of look around, look at the pretty birds, just taking everything in.
Kind of acts like a drunk sometimes.
Yeah. My horse doesn't steer, okay? We don't. Straight is not in our vocabulary. It's fine. I totally don't mind getting smacked in the face with branches. But that's the thing, is like Skylar said, In a group, Willie can be more confident or more anxious depending on what the other horses are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Solo, she has a horse that wants to march out and be confident because he's feeding off her.
Yep.
I know riding solo, Valor is a drunken sailor who just, he's gonna get there when he gets there. There's no hurry. It'll just happen. He'll just be like, oh, we're at our destination. How'd we get here?
Yeah.
In a group, he's not fun to ride. Like, as much as I would love to take him off Fox Hunt or something just to kind of see, I know he would probably get way too in his head.
You would hate it.
He would get way too excited and want to be ahead of everybody.
Well, and that's his thing. He wants to lead. He wants to be in charge and in front. And sometimes you can't have that in a group. So
no, reality is if you're going to ride in a group, your horse better be okay with whatever position you put them at, because every horse is a little bit different. Him and this mare almost got into it in Hocking Hills because both of them wanted to lead.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them kept cutting the other off.
Yeah, well, they were so far ahead of us on the trail, and I was just like, yeah, don't worry about them. Unless we see a loose horse, it's fine. But, I mean, that's just some things you got to take into account, you know?
Right, and trail riding's always a big monster to handle and everything, and you just have to know your horse. So, you know, that's the other thing. If you've only had your horse for 6 months, do not trail ride solo.
No.
Don't try it. Don't consider it. Do not.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know your horse. Skylar has had Willie for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
I have had Valor for almost 3 or 4 now. So, you know, at this point, both of us are pretty well acquainted with our horses' personalities and how they react. But it takes about a year at least for most horses to fully settle in and trust you and relax.
Yep. And for you to get a handle on their behavior and their thinking processes, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's probably a big thing, is know your horse and be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Be prepared for anything and everything, because with horses, anything and everything can and will happen. Yes.
You're not going to be able to accurately prepare for every situation that could happen because, I mean, it's just not possible.
It's not. They will always throw some kind of curveball at you.
But at the same time, if you go into it trying to prepare for at least some of the possibilities, you'll be a little bit better off if something were to happen.
Yeah, and a big thing for that is identification.
Yes.
Have some way to identify who you are, have some way to communicate for help. A big thing I see people do on the trails is they put their phone in their saddlebag or in a pommel bag. And that is a huge no. I see Skylar do it occasionally, and I yell at her every time, because it does not matter if you're riding solo or in a group. Your phone needs to be on you. That way you can call for help. That way you can communicate with somebody, because you can get separated from your group.
Oh, yeah.
That does and will happen. You can, if you're trail riding solo, you can get thrown. You can fall off. You can go to get off and pee, and your horse leave you behind.
Oh, yeah.
With your pants down. You need to be prepared. You need to have a phone to call somebody. And always make sure somebody knows where you are. Somebody knows you're trail riding solo, so that when they see your number on their phone, they know to pick up.
Yeah.
They're not like, oh, I'll get back to them, or they'll leave a voicemail. They'll be like, oh no, this person's riding alone with their horse. I need to pick up and make sure there's nothing going on.
Yeah. My rule of thumb, when I lived and worked in Hocking Hills, I took a lot of trail rides on my days off or as soon as I got off work to just go in the woods. And I was in a big, big forest that had a lot of territory to cover, a lot of places that people could, you know, get injured or things could go wrong. So whenever I did leave for those trail rides, I would always notify at least 2 people. One person being my boss, and the other person being either a camper that was there at the time or somebody that I knew and trusted who could get a hold of my boss if something were to happen. And that was just an extra precaution that I took in case something were to go wrong.
But it's an absolutely necessary precaution. Very necessary. Ideally, 2 people is for the best. Yep. Because truly, I mean, even though we live in a digital age, not everybody's has their phone on them 24/7. Mm-hmm. So ideally, having 2 people knowing where you're at is the best case scenario, because if one doesn't pick up, the other one will. Yeah. So you increase your chances of getting help or finding somebody to come pick you up or whatever. Because you never know. You may get to a part of the trail, like Hocking Hills is huge. Yep. You may get to a section of Hocking Hills where someone needs to come pick you up on the side of the road. You can't make it back to the trailhead. You can't make it back to the parking lot. you need somebody to come get you and your horse now.
Or God forbid, you need to contact authorities to come and air carry you, or something happens. Yeah.
So always make sure your phone is on your person. Mm-hmm. And ideally have your ID on you in case someone does come across you and you are unconscious. They can identify you when they call help for you.
Yep.
But that also goes into make sure your horse has ID. Mm-hmm. Some people put air tags on their horses. I don't like those because they don't work if you don't have service.
Yes. That was another point I was going to bring up too. If you are going into an area with spotty service, or you don't know if you will have full service, plan for not having it and find different ways to notify people. Like, you can always change your voicemail on your phone, on your ring phone, whatever, and kind of notify people like, this is where I was last at. I'm trail riding today. If you can't get a hold of me, this is my location, etc. Doing that, if somebody calls you and it goes to voicemail, they're going to hear that no matter what. So that's a great way to just kind of let people know the vicinity of the area that you're in.
Or you were last in.
Yes.
Because, Skylar and I have both rode in places with spy service. Even if we didn't have the horses, we've camped in places with no service. Yep. And honestly, that was something we should have done to be safer.
I did.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Yeah. I didn't. But also, no one really cared where I was. They were you'll be fine. So, but that's just it. Always be prepared, and prepare in whatever way you can. Biggest thing is make sure people know where you are and who you're bringing. If you have multiple horses, tell them, I brought so-and-so, or I brought the black one, or whatever. So always, always, always communicate. Yep. That is the biggest thing with solo riding. But also identification. Make sure you have some form on you and your horse. Yeah. If your horse gets loose and returns to the trailhead without you, you want to make sure people at the trailhead know who to contact in case of emergency. Yeah. If they can't contact you, make sure there's at least a second number on your horse that they can contact. Mm-hmm. Make sure they know your horse's name, your horse's address. Anything you can to ensure that your horse winds back up in your hands as soon as possible is what you should be doing. Yeah. And again, never put things on your tack.
Your tack can break. Things could malfunction. Things could fall off. So it's best to attach it to your horse if possible. Heck, you could even braid luggage tags into your horse's mane or tail. There you go. That's a way to just kind of get that information across and there in case somebody needs it. And it's typically in a place that people will see it as well, too.
Yeah, you can put luggage tags in your horse's hair. You can paint things on them. And I mean, this can carry over into any situation. If you know a big weather event is coming your way.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah. Make sure your horse has identification on them. You don't want to wind up in the situation where your horse is missing and there's no way for people to contact you if they find it. Yeah. So always, always, always make sure you have a way to contact help, but your horse has a way to get back to you. Mm-hmm. So
I was gonna say too, there's been times where like when we had a bunch of tornadoes supposedly come in our way, like I blue coated my horse and sprayed my phone number on him just in case something were to happen.
See, and, that's the funniest thing is people will they'll be like livestock paint, spray paint, whatever, and I'm like, you know, one of the best products that never comes out that we're always using, Blue Coat. Yeah, that never comes out, and I have a black and white paint. All I have to do is paint his white spots, and he will be blue forever. Yep.
Yeah. So there's always ways to problem solve and troubleshoot for situations, and it's just something to give you to think about.
Yeah, it's all with horses. Prepare, because something's going to happen. It's not a matter of if something happens; it's a matter of when and what. So always, always be prepared. Always make sure there's a way to communicate and a way to identify. Honestly, even if the worst thing happens, you still want to know. Mm-hmm. If your horse is found and has to be euthanized before you can make that call yourself, you do want to know what happened to them, even for a sense of closure. I know of a story that this guy lost his horse in the woods of Oregon. Oregon is a big place to lose your horse. It is very remote. Everything about Oregon is very, very dangerous. Yeah. And he still hasn't found his horse.
Which is horrible.
Knowledge. It's awful. And, you know, obviously his situation was one, it was just one of those freak things. He was in a campsite. It's not like his horse was highlined. It's not like he was, out riding. It just happened overnight his horse got loose.
Mm-hmm.
But his horse has no way to identify him, as the owner. And his horse blends in very easily to that kind of landscape.
Yep.
So always, always be prepared. When you're trail riding solo, the best thing you can do is make sure people know where you are, they know what horse you have, and that your horse has something on them.
Mm-hmm.
And always make sure you're riding in tack that can break if the worst thing happens.
Yes, that's a big one. Never put anything on your horse that is designed to be on them permanently or not designed to falter or break. Because things can go wrong. And I personally would much rather feel I would feel better knowing that my tack can break off if something were to happen and my horse isn't going to get tangled or caught up in something and be stranded.
Yeah, Skylar and I ride in a lot of leather and mohair.
Yep.
Under the right amount of pressure or the right amount of force, all of that's going to break.
Yep.
It is absolutely going to snap. But things like nylon billets, nylon latigos, nylon girths, nylon halters, rope halters, those aren't going to break.
No.
And bear that in mind when you go out and ride.
Mm-hmm.
Is that those things will not break unless there is a fail-safe put in place like a leather piece. And even those sometimes don't break.
Yeah.
Depending on how small they are and where the rivet is, those may not always break either. So it's all about preparation and thinking of everything, because anything and everything will happen with horses, especially when you're riding out in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if you're in a state park that's 10 minutes from civilization or a state park like Hocking Hills where the nearest town's a good 30-minute drive.
Yeah.
And if you want to go to the ER or hospital, you might want to tack an hour onto that.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, too, it doesn't even matter if you're at like a state park or private public land. Even if you're at home or just down the road from where you typically ride, anything can go wrong. You got to plan ahead.
It really, truly can. I mean, Skylar lives on almost 12 acres. I live on 12 acres. If either one of us are at the back of our property, nobody at the house is going to see us.
Mm-hmm.
So that means we have to be prepared and have communication set up beforehand.
Yeah.
Hey, we're out riding. Just keep an eye out for us. We should be back by this and this time. Or if you see my name, answer right away.
Mm-hmm.
So just all good things to bear in mind.
Yeah.
Communication and identification. When you're solo riding, those are the biggest things.
Mm-hmm.
And always, always, always have fail-safes in place.
Yes. Another important thing is navigation. Knowing the terrain that you're going to be in and how well you're going to be able to navigate and find your way if you either get lost or something were to happen where you need to find an alternate route, etc. That's going to be a big one. I know in Hocking Hills, because it was such a huge bit of land, if a tree was over, part of the trail, and sometimes you're up in those ledges up alongside cliffs that you can't continue going the way you were going, you have to find different routes, or you have to pave your own route through bushwhacking or goat trails or deer trails, etc.
And that's another thing to make sure your horse is comfortable with.
Yes.
Sticks and branches whacking their legs, getting caught in their tail, getting under their tail. I know so many horses that they seem so solid and steady, but the moment something's under their tail, they turn into bucking broncs.
Oh, yeah.
And they will not stop until you and the thing are dislodged.
Yeah. So
always make sure your horse is okay with bushwhacking and bulldozing. Valor doesn't care. Honestly, I wish he cared a little bit more. He takes it a little too far towards the not care route.
Yeah.
But before you do that, before you go bushwhacking and trying to ride around an obstacle, make sure your horse is capable of riding around that obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
Some horses, it's truly better to just cut your losses, turn around, and go back the way you came.
Yeah. And there was some days on the trail that I ended up having to do that. And I would kick myself a little bit, be a little, disheartened that I had to cut the ride short. But
safety comes
the end
first.
result, yes, your safety and your horse's safety is the priority when you are riding.
Yeah, whether you're riding solo or with a group, always, always, always consider your safety first. If you're riding with people tend to be a little crazy, and you feel like they're getting ready to do something unsafe, communicate and say, hey, let's cut this short.
Uh-huh.
If you're riding somewhere solo and you can feel your horse starting to wind themselves up and getting a little bit out of control, get off and walk them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Make sure your horse stands for dismounting. No matter how spun up they are, you need to be able to dismount safely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one.
that is a massive one. The amount of horses I know that do not stand still is no. And that was like my big thing when I got Valor. He did not stand still when I got him. And that was something I hammered into him. He was going to stand.
Yeah, I watched a lady get drug on the edge of a cliff after she dismounted because part of the trail at Hocking was a little bit too treacherous for her. And she didn't feel comfortable, so she got down, which is totally fine. But the horse would not stand still for her to get back on. And her foot got caught in the stirrup. And it was just a wacky like situation all around, and it just drug her along the cliffside, and like before somebody caught the horse, it was a little scary, not gonna lie.
Well, and that's the other thing you have to consider. How tight's the trail? I know a lot of the places you and I ride, our horses are confident enough to bushwhack, but they're also confident enough to cut each other off if something happens.
Yeah.
Not every horse is confident bushwhacking. Not every horse is confident dragging something. Not every horse is confident being caught or cut off.
That's why it's a very good reason to know your horse, how they think and how they react to situations, because you can plan a little bit based off of your knowledge.
And the biggest thing too is prepare for every eventuality. I never lock my stirrup bars on my English saddle, so if something happens and I get stuck in my stirrups, either the stirrup leather is going to break or they're going to come off the saddle. I never ever lock my stirrups on my saddle when I'm riding English. And in Western, I try to avoid stirrups that are too big for my feet. I try to avoid shoes that can go through the stirrup. So those are just things you have to think about. Safety comes first. Communication, identification, safety. So I think that about covers it for this episode. We will have plenty more for you guys because we are planning to trail ride as much as possible this year.
Oh yeah.
If the weather would calm down.
That would be very nice if the thunderstorms could go away.
Yeah, and the swamp pits that are every forest right now could just dry out.
Yeah.
So we will have plenty more information for you guys, as always. So see you in the next episode.
Yep. Until then. We hope you enjoyed this week's topic. Join us for new episodes every Sunday. And to keep up with the herd, be sure to follow us on Instagram at The Highline Herd and visit our website at thehighlineherd.com. We hope you enjoy the show. See you next week.